Ever wondered what really happens when you completely vanish from someone's life? Not just pulling back a little, but going totally silent. No texts, no calls, no signs of life. You disappear. Just like that. In a world where people treat others like they'll always be around, your absence becomes a shockwave. When you go ghost, you flip the script on someone who took you for granted, and their world begins to crack. You see, people get too comfortable. They assume you'll keep showing up no matter how they treat you. But when you finally walk away without warning, everything changes. This video is for anyone who's ever felt like an option, not a priority. Today, we're going deep into what actually happens when you remove yourself completely from someone's life. There are 10 powerful emotional stages they go through, each one more intense than the last. And trust me, if you've ever wanted to reclaim your worth and leave someone truly speechless, this is the video you need to see. So, if you're done being taken for granted, comment below, "I'm done being an option." Stick around till the end, because the final stage, it's the one they never recover from. 1. The sting of rejection. It hits like a thunderclap. At first, they don't even register it. After all, they thought you'd always be there. You were consistent, you cared, you reached out, planned things, supported them. But suddenly, you're gone. No explanations, no goodbyes, just silence. And that silence stings. Not just in a small way, it cuts deep. Because in that moment, they're not just losing a person. They're losing the comfort, the emotional safety, and the validation they took for granted. You were always around, and they treated you like a backup plan, not realizing you were the foundation they were standing on. Now you've vanished, and they're left with nothing to hold on to. It's like the ground disappeared beneath them. That sting? It's not about missing a message. It's about realizing they never had control over you to begin with. That's the part that burns. They thought they had you wrapped around their finger until they reached out and found nothing there. If you want them to feel that sting for real, don't announce your exit. Don't make threats or deliver ultimatums. Just disappear. It'll leave them wondering what just happened. And in that space of confusion, the realization hits hard. They lost someone they thought they could keep on standby. But you weren't an option. You were the prize. And now, you're gone. 2. The void of missing you. After the sting wears off, the emptiness sets in. And it's not just a passing sadness, it's a full-blown void. Suddenly, everything feels hollow. The routines continue, the world keeps spinning, but something's missing. You. They told themselves you weren't that important. They thought they could replace you or just move on. But now, that illusion is shattered. You brought something to their life no one else did. Your presence added meaning, warmth, and stability, and without it, the air feels cold and heavy. They might try to distract themselves, scroll through dating apps, hang out with friends, dive into work, but none of it sticks. Because the truth is, you were never just someone. You were the energy that made life feel alive. They begin to miss the little things, your voice, your insight, your laughter, your presence. And worst of all, they know they can't just reach out to get you back. You've gone silent, blocked, erased. Every time they try to check your socials or reread old texts, there's nothing. Just that growing void, a reminder that they let something meaningful slip through their fingers. That absence becomes louder than any words you could have said. And with each day that passes, they don't just miss you. They crave the peace, attention, and care only you provided. 3. Overwhelming curiosity. Now comes the obsession. Their mind becomes a battlefield of what-ifs and unanswered questions. Where are you? Who are you with? Have you moved on? Are you happier now without them? That curiosity eats at them like fire. Because now, not only are you gone, but you're a mystery. You've vanished from their radar. No updates, no online activity, nothing to satisfy their need for answers. In the age of social media, that kind of silence is deafening. They scroll, search, stalk, but you're invisible, and that drives them insane. Humans hate the unknown, and your absence becomes a puzzle they can't solve. Their imagination kicks in, and it's brutal. They picture you smiling with someone new, living your best life without them. They might start reaching out to mutual friends, fishing for intel while pretending they don't care. But they do. They care a lot, more than they ever admitted. The irony. The less you say, the more power you hold. The more they wonder, the more you're in control. Your silence becomes louder than any message, and their curiosity slowly transforms into full-blown obsession. 4. Deep self-reflection. Eventually, all that external searching turns inward, and this is the stage they fear the most. With no distractions left, they begin to reflect. And it's not pretty. They start replaying the moments, the ignored texts, the cold responses, the dismissive tone. Suddenly, it's all clear. You were there, you were trying, and they pushed you away. This kind of reflection isn't surface-level regret, it's soul-deep. They're faced with the consequences of their own actions. There's no one to blame now. You're not around to argue or to defend them, and all that's left is a mirror, and what they see isn't flattering. The guilt builds slowly. Maybe they thought you were clingy, too emotional, or too available, but now they see the truth. You were loyal, and they blew it. That realization doesn't come with relief. It comes with regret. Painful, lingering regret. And here's the most important part. Don't interrupt this process. Don't explain. Don't reach out. Let them sit in that discomfort. Let them confront themselves without your comfort to soften the blow. Because the more they reflect, the more they'll realize it wasn't you, it was them. 5. Panic and desperation. Once the self-reflection sets in, panic quickly follows. This is where reality hits like a freight train. They start realizing that they might have lost you for good, and that thought terrifies them. Before, they felt in control. They thought they could breadcrumb you, ignore your value, and you'd still be there. But now, the control has flipped. They start to panic scroll through old conversations, looking for a sign, a window, anything that tells them they still have a chance. Desperation kicks in. You'll notice strange activity, likes on old photos, random calls, or accidental texts that say things like, "Oops, wrong person." Yeah, right. They may try to manipulate their way back in with guilt, flattery, or fake vulnerability, but don't fall for it. This is not love. It's fear. Fear of losing their safety net. Fear of facing their own emptiness. Desperation makes people act irrationally, and it's because they finally understand the gravity of losing someone who once gave them everything. Stay silent. Let the panic burn through them, because now they're chasing what they once ignored, and that reversal of roles is a lesson they'll never forget. 6. Jealousy and imaginary scenarios. At this point, jealousy kicks in hard. In their mind, you've moved on, and worse, you're happier. You're glowing, leveling up, living your best life. Even if you're just staying low-key, in their imagination, you're already with someone better, someone who appreciates you, and nothing hurts their ego more than that. They'll scroll obsessively, looking for signs you've replaced them. A new follower? Must be your new love interest. A cryptic story post? Obviously about them, right? Their mind turns every little detail into a dramatic narrative, one where they're the victim and you're the heartbreaker. Jealousy is one of the most irrational emotions, and in this stage, it drives their every move. They might post stories or photos to make you jealous, just to get your attention, but you won't bite. And that silence, it eats them alive. Here's the power play. You don't need to do anything to make them jealous. Your absence alone is enough. And the stories they invent in their own mind are far worse than anything you could ever say or do. Let their imagination do the damage. 7. The blame game. When the pain becomes too much, they shift gears. Now it's your fault. You're cold, you're heartless. You just disappeared without a word. Suddenly, the person who ignored you, ghosted you, or treated you like a backup now paints you as the villain in their story. Why? Because blame is easier than accountability. It protects their ego. Accepting that they destroyed something valuable means facing the truth about themselves, and most people aren't ready for that level of honesty. They'll rewrite history, minimize your efforts, and magnify your silence. It's all part of their emotional defense system. They might even try to guilt-trip you through mutual friends or indirect posts. But here's the Stoic truth. Their version of the story doesn't matter. Your peace matters. You owe no one closure who refused to give you respect. So let them play the victim. Let them throw shade. At the end of the day, they know the truth, and it haunts them more than any response ever could. 8. The ego collapse. This is where things get real. The mask drops, the pride fades, and they're left with the crushing weight of their own actions. Their ego, once inflated by your attention, now deflates under the pressure of your absence. It's not just about missing you, it's about what losing you says about them. They begin to see themselves clearly. The games, the manipulation, the emotional negligence. It all comes crashing down. This collapse can lead to a full-blown identity crisis. They don't just feel bad about losing you, they feel exposed, vulnerable, weak. Their emotional armor is gone, and underneath is someone who destroyed a good thing and can't undo it. At this point, they may spiral. Some try to rebuild. Others retreat into isolation. But no matter what, they're not the same person anymore. Your silence broke the image they had of themselves, and that wound runs deep. 9. The attempted comeback. After the ego collapses, some people try to crawl back. Not all, but many. You'll get that, "Hey stranger," text, or a message that says, "I've been thinking about you lately." It sounds casual, but trust me, it's calculated. This is them testing the waters, seeing if the door is still open. They'll come back with soft energy, like nothing happened. Maybe even pretend they just want to be friends. Don't fall for it. This is not about reconnection, it's about regaining control. You see, people don't reach out after losing someone unless they've felt the pain of that absence. The comeback isn't romantic, it's strategic. They want to feel in control again. They want to be sure they still matter to you, but you've evolved. You're not the same person who tolerated breadcrumbs. So when they come back, stay grounded. Don't react emotionally. Your silence was strength. Don't trade it for temporary attention. 10. Permanent regret. This is the final stage, and the one that lingers the longest. Long after you've healed, moved on and elevated, they're still stuck with one thought. I lost them for good. Regret doesn't scream. It whispers, in the quiet moments, in the late nights when they scroll through old photos, when they see someone who reminds them of you, when they meet people who don't hold a candle to what you brought into their life. It's not the regret of losing a person, it's the regret of losing someone irreplaceable. Someone they treated like a backup, not realizing you were the main character. And the pain of knowing they can never rewind time. It stays with them. You don't need revenge. You don't need to prove anything. Because regret is the most brutal punishment of all, and they'll carry it like a ghost that never leaves. At some point, they'll come to the most painful realization of all. You weren't just someone they dated or talked to. You were peace. You were stability. You were the calm in the storm. In a chaotic world full of noise and games, you were the one who made things make sense. And once that kind of peace is gone, it's nearly impossible to replace. They'll search for it in other people, try to replicate it, but they won't find it. Because peace doesn't come in pretty words or surface-level attraction. It comes from authenticity, presence, and genuine care. And those things are rare. They lost their peace when they lost you. And long after the drama fades, long after the panic ends, that quiet emptiness stays. Not because they miss what you did, but because they miss who you were. And the tragic part, they had it, and they let it go.